Domestic terror, American style, exists at a vanishing point. It is said to be American at the point at which it no longer exists. Until that time, it's considered something else. There's no such thing as American domestic terror, in other words. We are told to call it organized crime, not American domestic terror. Now, in order to understand how the fundamentalist religious movement got control of the equity system with the depopulation methods that were um, those of us who have been lucky enough to get through so far um, hope our luck holds, um, are shaking off. In order to understand how the social equity movement evolved, you have to understand that they arranged what seems to be a sort of trivial pursuit of conscientious rationality. A good example of this was the way that they twisted my arm to explain all sorts of indications that I was a petty thief, like that I would lend somebody money. Just give somebody $5 when he needed it. Prove that I didn't take that seriously, so I must be hiding at that. And this is their idea. And they went after, like, they put out a quarter, and if I picked it up because it was unclaimed on the sidewalk, they'd be sending dog barking ferociously at me. This is the sort of orchestrations that these masters of ceremonies come up with. Meanwhile, as I explained, my suspicions of it turned out to be true. They were robbing our libraries for millions of dollars worth of books. They had attacked me and committed torture. They were engaged in wargaming based on attack prostitution. They were putting out bait so that they could, for fun, attack people in the family of somebody who they entrapped. They were lying. They were using positions in universities, and they were targeting public figures. Now, behind it were other public figures. In other words, not everybody who's in public figure was free of planning in this level. This is their master of ceremonies approach to what they can say is conscientious objection to um, free love or something. Like they wired up the pornography system with indications of their pornographic genocide methods. It's part of our cinema heritage now, and like Arredondo in Uvalde, Texas, they just sat on their hands, you know. And Uvalde was chosen because it looks like Ukraine, because the fascists are saying that we have to bleed Russia while we have a chance using Ukrainian puppets. And what we're going to do, stand aside while they just kill children. And this is their demonstration project. It's an argument with the subconscious that comes from their postal unit. Um, it's a message in a bottle, so to speak. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, you know. Drink the Kool-Aid. It's a message that it's good for you, is what they say. So behind the attacks on me, these vulturous attacks, they tortured me as a child. They hit me blindside, armed white men, to the cheers of Union black heavies. Armed white men, because they knocked out the white, you know, but it was armed white men from the KKK. Their argument was pacifism is immoral. You see, so since you didn't fight back, you were letting us do it to you. I was hit from behind. It's like saying Bobby Kennedy let them do it to him, but they do say that. Pacifism is immoral. Well, anyway, I don't want to get into all of the degraded mindset that exists in the slouch head of the U.S. military. It's really sickening, but it's that. And they call it "I am the walrus." We are all Adolf Hitler. Were you a kid when you heard it say even Hitler's one of us? You know, even Hitler. We are all Adolf Hitler. Is their mindset? Okay, don't think you're better. And they come trotting out with the militia. You do or die. You do or die. You do or die. Right. So, and behind this is peacenik John Lennon. It's a proof that he's superior to everybody. Now, to get in a grip on that, nobody tries to argue that John Lennon was consistent. They have holy hypocrisy, is what it is. Right? And you can study Nietzsche because Nietzsche is now known to have been abrasively contradictory as a foil against rationality. He was promoting it as an adrenaline, source of adrenaline to be contradictory. So that gives you more insight into Mr. Lennon. So don't bother trying to work it out. So one other thing we see is the way that they set up barriers of blood. Like when I was in love with Moniker Junta, they made sure to put a, a bounty against that by killing somebody important. It looked like John Hines. And then they said, well, Midori killed Hines, so you have to you have to play that back for her subordination to the sacred school of wisdom. In George Takai GT, they uploaded from the phenomenon of my being alone and bereft from being um, um, alone a long time and having had my child aborted by this gang who put pictures of it all over the school. Followed Circe, my mail, to Circe's mother and killed Circe. Um, they they uploaded Greta Thunberg, who's a GT for George Takai, and they had her foot go out and make a face about all the terrible people. And the past the collection plate, please, for Franklin Graham's people in Africa. Now, I love Greta. I mean, I'm trying to defend her, but it's disgraceful. She won't speak out against any of this. She's caught in the network. I don't know. Somebody would have to ask her point blank, did you know that COVID was coming? Because she was the poster girl for COVID. Nobody denies that, you know. But it's strange. It looks strange, like it's strange to her too, the way they operated. But but they have a barrier of blood on her talking. It's a vanishing point. And they put it to me to say something, are you going to endanger the woman you love? You see, it's the vanishing point of American terrorism. You can't say anything. It's unheard of to say anything. I went to Memorial Day service yesterday. Chinatown has never been particularly um, all embracing towards me. People, there a lot of them realize I really like it there. But they know that Magna Wen was after me and Justin Chang was the brainstorm. And Andrea Swimmer had a lot of Chinese boyfriends. So when I wrote a poem, I almost can hear that lonely trumpet. They removed the trumpet from the service forever after that because you see the unknown soldier who's being held responsible for the nuclear bomb. So that Trump gets some special gratification from the exotics of Japanese virginity and so on. He's in that trade. Um, is part of the network of consciousness in the Trumpet of Chang in Chinatown. So, GT Takai works from a bridge, but a bridge has to have a dummy. So they use the moron's child. Remember the moron's child? The moron's child, that DT, the moron shift with DT at the end down in DT, Dallas, Texas. The moron's child as the dummy in this game of bridge. That's all rigged for um, advancement of this bizarro. Like they have a poetry book put out by juveniles semi-anonymously, in which they, you know, use cryptonisms of Ringo and Balakian, who worked with Leslie Katz and Greg Carl on the special project of making me into the so-called special disgrace item of interest. We laugh all the harder that he has escaped as a eunuch, the curse of Ono. You know, this is what's being pulled with this rotten, stinking Clinton Obama network. You know, and that's all it is. It's just a rotten, stinking domestic terror operation being pulled from on high. I think Joe Biden is responsible for it. It's Trumpy tune. You know, he's a death in your family savior kind of guy with the, you know, the profile, the Billy Graham headmaster of the school. You know, they couldn't just tell us, you know, there's too many people, we're going to have to start poisoning sex offenders, don't cool it. They couldn't just say that.